Ruth here. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. All right, so Tommie Lee, reality star Tommie Lee, off of Love and Hip Hop, and I think she did like an appearance on Baddies and stuff like that. Like, beautiful. She's beautiful. She's 41 years old. She's apparently dating 21-year-old Julez Smith. And if you don't know who Julez Smith is, Julez is the son of Beyonce's sister, Solange Knowles. And obviously, Beyonce is his famous auntie. So apparently they are dating, honey. They've been seen around town, just hanging out. Just recently, I guess he was giving her a piggyback ride, and she was like, oh, calling him bae and stuff. They're very affectionate. People was taking pictures and things like that, and just of them cadoodling around town, child, like being very open about their newfound relationship. Now, some people call it cap, and then some people are saying, oh no, you know, it is very legit, okay? So everybody has mixed feelings about this. I just noticed that they became public with this right after the whole question if Julez was, like, you know, gay, because he was supposed to do some sort of appearance at a gay club. So people were, you know, like, oh, well, okay, is Julez coming out? Is this what it is? Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, so Julez kind of felt some kind of way about that. And I guess Julez was like, wait, hold up. So now y'all think I'm gay? And then after that, it kind of just died down a couple weeks, whatever. And now, boom, after a couple of weeks, this relationship comes up and about. It's just one of those things where we've seen this many times. We should not be surprised if this is some sort of, like, you know, a way for them to control the narrative, right? Like the industry to be like, oh no, this is what you think it is, but that's not what it is. This is what it is. You know what I mean? And if the man is gay, that's his business. If he's not, then he's not. Like, you know what I mean? But I think when you do this, all of a sudden, here comes this relationship out of nowhere, it does raise, like, right? Question marks, like, why y'all so open about this right after this news came out, right? Like, it's just one of those things where, like, okay, we've seen this many times, so of course we're going to think, yeah, maybe what we were thinking is what it really is. Now, a lot of people think, well, on the flip side, there are people that say, nah, it probably is true, because he could have picked any 21-year-old, 22, 23, 24. Why would he out of nowhere choose a 41-year-old reality star to be the one that he wants to prove that he is straight with? Why he could have picked anybody else, right? And that, you know, people who are thinking that they have a point also. So it's one of those things where not sure how this, you know what I mean? If it is true or real or not, you know, or fake or not. I will say this though. This is a come up for, you know, it's neither here nor there for Julez, but it's indeed a come up for Tommie, because what was Tommie doing before this? And no shade on Tommie, but I mean, if you can even get like a little itch or a scratch of the Knowles dynasty and be linked in them in any type of way, honey, it's a flex, right? It's a flex for her, I would assume. Now, she can do a mini spin-offs off of this. Even if they have a falling out, I mean, you know, she could be like, yo. And that's why I saw Beyonce's back at this picnic at the family picnic and blah 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 and da 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 da. She could just spin this off with so many little, like, you know, storytellings and stuff like that. Like, you know, Jay-Z's dreads is not really his, that they're not really real. Like, he has a beautician that comes in and puts those extensions on his head every single day. Or that's a lace front wig. I seen them put it on. Like, she could spin this off and say so many different things. Like, you know, she could say anything. I mean, within, you know, she gotta kind of do right, because I mean, you don't want to land yourself in court. But, you know, she could, you know, allege certain things, and, you know, this is a come up for her. For Julez, the only come up for Julez is if he wants to have people stop talking about his sexual preferences. That's it. So I don't know. I mean, who knows? And if it is a real relationship, then shout out to Tommie and Julez. And a lot of people will be like, oh, well, you know what? You know, that's a huge age difference that will not work. Well, look at Dre and Michelle and her basketball player baby daddy. What's his name? Jalen Green, right? Look at them. They are thriving, and they're very much in love, and they have a beautiful, beautiful daughter named Light. I don't know. To each their own. Just recently, Tiny, T.I.'s wife Tiny, shared her opinion with TMZ on the whole, you know, older women, older men dating younger men, dating younger women, child. And of course, you know, TMZ brought up Tommie and Julez. And child, this is what Tiny had to say. So this is...
I know you have like 4 sons. Now, there's been conversations. Solange's son, Julez, he seems to be dating Tommie Lee, who's like 20 years older. You know, how do you feel about, you know, women dating younger? What are your thoughts on that?
You know, I don't want to get in nobody's mess. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He like it, he love it. I don't know. I think that's more of a question, like, for, you know, his mom. You know
right. I mean, you know, would you be opposed if, you know, one of your sons was dating someone like 20 years older?
I wouldn't want it, because I feel like, you know, once that, you know, thrill of dating an older woman.
God bless you.
Yeah. You know, old, then they're going to want to move on to somebody younger, because these young girls are out here.
If they presented it, would you object to it immediately?
I'm going to let him handle his own life, but I would probably have, you know, I would give some kind of, you know, word to how I felt. And then, you know, whatever he decides is going to be on him.
Okay. So, but this is the thing. She said, well, you know, I don't know if I'd want that, because once they get over the thrill of dating an older woman, they move on to a younger woman. Well, they move on. They do that anyways with young women to young women. That, like, that's just the thing, right? Like, I mean, that could happen if he dates a 21-year-old woman and says, okay, I'm done here. I kind of, like, you know, I'm going to put the brakes on this. Not going to go any further with you. I want to continue dating. He's going to continue dating another woman. And it may be another 21-year-old woman. So it really, you know, that's going to happen anyways, right? Regardless if it's a 41-year-old woman to a 21-year-old woman, 21-year-old woman to a 20-year-old woman, it doesn't matter. Like, if people date, they get tired, they go and they date someone else, regardless of the age. I mean, it should be of age, of course. But, you know what I mean? Like, within adult ages. Let me just make that clear. But you know, so I feel like that, in my opinion, would not be the reason, right? That I would frown against it. You know, I think I would probably frown against it for the sake of the 21-year-old not having enough life experiences. Who knows? They may get their heart broken. What if they fall head over heels with this woman? I mean, but then again, that could happen with any woman, right? Of adult ages. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about this, and make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I will see y'all later. Bye.